Today, we are going to discuss about phytoremediation mechanisms. The term phytoremediation is composed of two words. The word phyto originates from Greek, means plant species, and the word remedium, it's a Latin word, means ability to treat or re-establish. This technique implies using plant species to extract and eradicate elemental contaminants or reduce their biological availability in soil and water bodies, and hence improve degraded environments. In other words, it is an approach to lower the amount of contamination in the polluted sites to environmentally tolerable levels by using green plants. Phytoremediation consists of two systems. First is root system, hosting the microbial population, and second is the plant itself, which transforms the toxic compounds to further non-toxic substances. It is an eco-friendly method for the rehabilitation of polluted ecosystems using plants, and it is also relatively less expensive. Plant species selection is a vital factor for successful phytoremediation. Plant species such as Populus and Salix, these are fast-growing woody plant species and are easy to regenerate with extensive roots and have high evapotranspiration rates that stabilize pollutants. Hence, they can flourish on soils with contaminated conditions. Such plants also have high rates of biomass production and can resist a broad range of potentially harmful elements in their root system. Next is mechanisms of phytoremediations. On the basis of the type of contaminant, the media in which the treatment takes place, and scope of application, phytotechniques can be categorized into specific mechanisms. These mechanisms are phytoaccumulation or phytoextraction, then rhizodegradation, phytostabilization, rhizofiltration, phytoevaporation or phytovolatilization, phytodesalination, phytodegradation or phytotransformation, and phytohydraulics. Once a plant takes up contaminants, it implements different detoxification mechanisms such as accumulation, excretion, or volatilization. First of all, we'll start with phytoextraction mechanism. Phytoextraction is the technique through which plants take up pollutants through their roots. As you can see here, these are roots with subsequent translocation to the above ground parts, right? So, which is generally followed by harvesting and final disposal of the biomass of the plant. This process applies to metals like cadmium, silver, copper, chromium, cobalt, molybdenum, mercury, lead, manganese, nickel, and zinc. Then to radionuclides like cesium and uranium, metalloids like antimony and arsenic, non-metals, and some organic substances. This process applies to non-metals and also some organic substances, mainly hydrocarbons, because these do not usually have their structures further transformed or changed inside the plant system. Few important points I would like to discuss with you are the factors responsible for absorption mechanism of heavy metals, like plant species. Uptake of heavy metals is influenced by nature of the plant species. The species uh, means special plants used for phytoextraction are called metallophytes, and they are divided into three categories: metal excluders, metal indicators, and hyperaccumulators. Metal excluders are the plants that prohibit metals from penetrating aerial shoots or retain low and stable level of metal concentration across a wide variety of metal concentration levels in the soil. So then metal indicators. Indicators is a plant species containing the same levels of heavy metals in its tissues as in the surrounding soil environment, right? Then means these plant species tolerate the present concentration levels of metal by forming chelators. Then hyperaccumulators. Hyperaccumulators are plants that contain high level of metal pollutants concentrated in their root systems. Also, shoots and foliage. Metal accumulating species can concentrate most heavy metals such as cadmium, zinc, nickel, cobalt, lead, and manganese at levels equal to 100 or 1,000 times those in excluded plant species. Other factors like properties of the medium, then root zone, environmental conditions, chemical properties of contaminants, bioavailability of metals, and also chelating agent addition. Next mechanism is rhizodegradation. Rhizodegradation is the degradation of different organic contaminants in growing soil through microbial activity. I can see here the yellow colored dot-like structures are microbes, and these red thread-like structures are mycorrhiza near the roots of the plant species. So rhizodegradation is recognized as the most efficient method for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon, means PAH treatment in soil. The combined action of the microbial population and plant root system in the rhizosphere, such as discharge of plant exudate like amino acid, sugar, organic acids, hydrogen cyanide, then phosphatases, and phytohormone production by plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, helps in the breakdown of contaminants. PAH originate from either natural or anthropogenic activities, means human activities. Among them, the combustion of organic matter is the major source of contamination. The mechanism of rhizodegradation involves direct phytohormonal activity, enhancing nutrient availability and regulating microbial population, which makes it possible to degrade contaminants by using growing root system. The pollutants taken up by plants are either accumulated in the harvestable parts of the plant or volatilized through the leaves or stems. Plant microbe interaction, soil parameters, and the conditions that promote degradation are the factors affecting the rate of rhizodegradation. Next mechanism is phytostabilization. Phytostabilization, also known as phytoimmobilization, is the process of making a contaminant immobile or immovable in soil media via absorption by plant roots, adsorption on roots, or precipitation in between the rhizosphere of growing media. This technique reduces the mobility of contaminants by stabilizing them via the development of vegetative cover at the root zone or of the plant species, helping to avoid migration to the groundwater. Microbial growth correlated with plant root system may enhance the breakdown of organic contaminants such as petroleum, hydrocarbons, and pesticides to likely non-toxic compounds. Plant, soil contaminants, and environmental factors determine the success of phytostabilization technology in contaminated sites in terms of both revegetation and restoration. Next mechanism is phytovolatilization. Phytovolatilization is the absorption, translocation, and evaporation of pollutant by a plant species, with a modified type of pollutant being discharged into the adjoining atmosphere. Phytoevaporation or phytovolatilization occurs when growing trees and other plant species consume water and pollutant simultaneously, resulting in volatilization through the foliage or stem uh, uh, or the soil surface because of the root activities of the plant. The phytoevaporation process can be employed for detoxification of both hazardous inorganic or organic contaminants. Volatile type of hazardous inorganic substances such as arsenic and mercury can be evaporated from the plant parts. Next is rhizofiltration. Rhizofiltration is a technique for assimilation of pollutant present in the solution adjoining the root zone, in concentrating and precipitating them on or into plant roots through biotic or abiotic methods. This approach is mostly employed to rehabilitate polluted groundwater sources, Plant roots release root exudates, means candy metabolites that undergo various biogeochemical processes, resulting in the precipitation of pollutants onto roots or into water bodies. Later on, absorption of contaminants onto or into plant root system and translocation to above ground portion uh, occur based on the type of plant species and the pollutant type and also concentration. So plant species, the nutrient status and chemical characteristic of contaminants and also the condition of groundwaters are the prime factors that are used to evaluate the effectiveness of rhizofiltration method in treating the inorganic and organic pollutants present in the groundwater resources. Next is phytodegradation. The phytodegradation process involves the transformation of contaminants absorbed by plants through metabolic pathways inside the plant system. It is also known as phytotransformation. The complex organic contaminants are converted into simpler products and integrated into plant tissues to boost plant growth. Plants release specific enzymes that catalyze and enhance the rate of transformation. The phytodegradation technique can be used for the treatment of chemical pollutants, for example, chlorinated solvents, herbicides, and explosives in groundwater sources, aromatic and petroleum hydrocarbons in growing soils, and volatile substances in the means from the atmosphere. The environmental applications. The process relies upon the direct absorption of contaminants from soil water and the resultant uh, metabolites accumulated within the plant tissues, provided that the accumulated metabolites are either non-toxic or less toxic than the original contaminants. Next is phytosalination process. Phytodesalination process. Phytodesalination is an eco-friendly technology that is employed to remediate water resources and sodic soils by using sodium hydroaccumulating halophytes. It is the process through which plant species are employed as desalination agent, which means the use of halophytes means ability to absorb huge quantities of sodium ions from affected ecosystem and their elimination by means of accumulation and translocation to different harvestable plant parts, right? So saline sodic soils cover almost 6% of the land surface worldwide, and to overcome this problem, scientists have emphasized the phytodesalination technique by providing the effectiveness of sodium hyperaccumulating plants in desalinizing the soil, especially in arid and semi-arid locations. And the last is phytohydraulics. Phytohydraulics is the exploitation of deep-rooted plant species to uptake, sequester, and break down groundwater pollutants that emerge in contact with their root systems. A special class of plant species called phytophytes are widely used for this purpose, right? Phytophytes are deep-rooted, water-loving plants that have high transpiration rates and penetrate their roots into zones of high moisture, and they can also continue to exist under temporary saturation conditions. So examples of few examples of these type of plants are Prosopis, Eucalyptus, Populus and Salix. They are typical phytophytes. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more. Thank you.